So Fisher, Fry, and Hattie do a great job in their book in their text visual literacy. They have or visual learning. Sorry. They have a lot of great tips that I would like to refer back to once I start writing my EdCPA, such as things I want to implement in my classroom and things I won't implement in my classroom. I do understand not everything works for every teacher. So one of the key things I took from their book was to provide honest feedback and to maintain an inviting classroom, basically making your students feel safe enough to want to come and talk to you, to to come to you when they need advice or when they don't understand something in the classroom. That's very important. Right now, I'm kind of experiencing having some of my students feel comfortable enough to come and ask me questions when they don't understand, and having some that just will sit there and not do the work if they don't understand. So that may be my fault in not clarifying enough or waiting, having those pausing moments to make sure that they're actually paying attention before I move on and explain what their activity is. So I'm definitely working on my approaches on how to get students' attention, get students to feel like they are actually learning in the classroom. I know they were saying that some approaches work better for some students. It depends on where students are in their learning process. And right now I do have freshmen, so I'm still kind of trying to figure out where they're at, what they do know, what they don't know. I do have some students in my class that love the challenge of trying to dive into what we're currently doing in the class. And then we have some that don't really want to be challenged. They kind of just want to fly under the radar and not have to work as hard. So trying to figure out how much of a challenge to give students is also something I'm working on. They also explain that some students appreciate a challenge, some don't. So it kind of depends on where you're at with your students. And I think that goes back to when they're explaining high efficiency and low efficiency, and how those students with low will avoid complex tasks, they will maintain weak commitment to their goals, and they're slow to recover their confidence. So if they get a bad grade, instead of trying harder to get a good grade, they'll kind of just settle for where they're at. And some things that I've learned by reading this book is learning the intentions of success. So having students asking myself, what do I want my students to learn today? Why are they learning this? How will I know that they've learned it? So I think that goes back to assessments. How will they learn this? Assessing them, checking for their understanding, asking them questions. And I kind of do that at the beginning of each class. I would take something from the day before and do like a kind of review. So who remembers what we did the day before? In terms of the EdTPA, I feel like this book is going to be very helpful because it kind of gives you guidelines to what you should have in your classroom, what kind of environment, how to manage some students, what challenge you want your students to have. Like, are you challenging that student that's above everybody else, or are you kind of just letting them do what everybody else is doing and being done fast instead of having them have to actually think about what they're doing? Something else from this book that I've learned is that students will question your credibility if you're not consistent with what you're doing or saying in the classroom. So just making sure that as teachers we're being consistent and that we believe and what we're saying to the students, not just feeding them what we think they should know or what rules we think they should have. So just all in all, building positive relationships with our students makes for great teaching, having like literacy learning, making sure that we're challenging them, providing them with deeper knowledge, getting them to ask those questions. What have I learned? How did I learn it? And just making sure that we're hitting that 3 phase of surface level learning, deeper learning, and then being able to transfer that learning into different criteria or subjects that they are learning in school.